So, dann gucke ich mir nochmal das Linus Tech-Tips-Drama an. Ich finde es sehr schade. Und Luke war sichtlich geknickt, dass Linus es einfach nicht verstehen wollte, warum die Leute sich aufregen. Mal gucken, was Ludwig
I noticed
sagt.
that recently I've been uploading less videos. And that's not a bug, it's a feature. I'd like to upload less videos. I want to make sure that every time I talk about something, I care about it and I can add value to the conversation. I can teach you and make you care about something you might not have known about before. Unless it's the end of the month, in which case I have a sponsored deliverable, and that's why I'm uploading more. But in this case, this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Linus Tech Tips and everything that happened there. I even got a lot of viewers who were DMing me about it, and this one's for you, Oliver. Now, to come clean, I've actually already made this video. This is my second time making it. But that was back when I had hair, and that was back when there was less information about this whole situation. And so I didn't feel right uploading it. I thought better to wait, maybe get less views, but be more accurate in what I'm talking about. And what am I talking about? Well, just to show you the gravity of this situation, here is a graph of the float plane subscribers for Linus Media Group. And if you don't know, that's like their own Patreon site that they made. Before this whole situation went down, they were at about 41,500 members. That's people who pay $10 a month. After it's all been said and done, they are down to 35,000, almost 6,000 people. That is a huge loss. We're talking almost $1 million a year in revenue. What spawned all of this? Well, it was a video by a competitor to Linus Media Group called Gamers Nexus. And if you don't know, these are all review channels, review for products. And the main argument
Ich wusste gar nicht, dass das
was a video
Gamers
by a
Nexus
competitor to
Videos so
Linus
früh
Media Group
kamen.
people. That is
Von Response, Second Gamer Nexus Video, der kam das erste. Seitdem runter. Ich dachte, das kam nach dem Madison Tweets.
a huge loss. We're talking almost $1 million a year in this media group called Gamers Nexus. And if you don't know, these are all review channels, review for products. And the main argument that Gamers Nexus makes is that Linus Tech Tips doesn't do as good of a job in being objective and accurate as they need to be. And that's a decent argument here because as opposed to reviews in gaming, books, movies, media, it can be subjective. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And a lot of the reviews you will see will be like Charlie in his moist meter for a movie or Donkey in his review of a video game. And there's some objectivity to it, but for the most part, did they have fun watching or playing the thing is what you care about. With PC parts, it's a lot different. There can be some subjectivity to whether you maybe like a company or you think a price is reasonable, but for the most part, a lot of it is based off of testing. Specifically, how good a product is. Does the 3090 run hotter than the 3080? Those are questions that consumers care about, and that's what these channels provide, Gamers Nexus and Linus Media Group. Why was this video made in the first place? Well, the first stone cast actually came from Linus Media Group, specifically during a tour of one of their labs. And these are the labs that will test the GPUs and the CPUs, and they'll see whether the 4080 is all it's cracked up to be, or if NVIDIA is just blowing smoke up your ass. That's what is done here. And one of the people who work at Linus Tech Tips said this.
You have seen a review of a component from LTT, you know, like a graphics card
I've
or
seen
a
one.
CPU.
Me,
Yeah?
I've seen one.
This is where it happens.
Whoa.
The difference between us and somebody like Gamers Nexus or Hardware Unboxed is we test new components, new tests every time.
Which is kind of equivalent to saying the difference between me and Moist Critical is that
Wir machen unseren Job richtig, die machen unseren Job nicht
I have a
richtig.
fact-checking thing in the description when I'm wrong. It's not necessary to throw in Charlie's name there. It's true that I do that, and it's a good thing that I do that, but it doesn't need to come at a comparison. And because of that, I think Gamers Nexus felt free to take the leash off and go crazy. And a lot of what this video
Nach so einer Ansage, klar, als Competitor.
breaks down is very nerdy and very detailed and could be worth a watch if you're interested. It talks about specific examples where one of the tests that they did is inaccurate or faulty, and they go over CPU cooler tests, CPU review errors, asterisked errors, and the faults that they maybe make in even repairing their errors and owning up to them. But I'm just going to cherry pick two examples to kind of paint the idea that Gamers Nexus is trying to on some of the lapses in judgment and the failures to accurately apologize for mistakes that Linus Media Group has committed. And the first one is on a mouse review.
Short circuit video where Linus Media Group
Stimmt, haben sie die Dinger nicht richtig abgezogen, was peinlich ist.
reviewed a mouse in their Not a Review, the company made strong criticisms of the friction of the mouse in the video.
This is not a smooth mouse, and that's really disappointing, especially on like a premium gaming mouse. That should be one of the primary focuses.
Ponage then contacted LMG to
This is a huge bomb that he's about to drop.
notify them that LMG had not removed the protective film from the feet of the mouse.
Now he goes on to say that, yeah, they never removed the
Wie lange habe ich die bei mir drauf gelassen? Ich bin mir gerade nicht mal sicher. Nee, ich glaube, ich habe die gleich abgezogen, weil ich die maximale Smoothness haben wollte.
plastic that was on the bottom of the mouse. That's why there wasn't good enough friction. And then they replied and they were like, no, we did remove it. And then the people who made the mouse pulled up a screenshot where you could see the protective film and they're like, no, you didn't. What the hell? And they eventually corrected that in the review.
Was auch wieder schade ist, weil diese Firmen bei so einem Video davon leben, dass das Produkt richtig bewertet wird und nicht auf einer Basis von, ja, die sind als Technik-Channel zu dumm, basic einen Film abzumachen und eine Maus zu checken, was sie vorher schon mehrere hunderte Male gemacht haben. Dann ist das eine sehr große wirtschaftliche Einbuße.
In I think one of the comments, but it wasn't big enough. The harm caused by the hundreds of thousands of people who saw the review where they had a plastic cover on was a problem, right? There was even a point where some people were trying to defend Linus Media Group by saying, well, hey, if a professional mouse reviewer couldn't find the film, then maybe a consumer can't. But that's not the point. If you're a professional reviewer, you should be a little more accurate.
Yeah.
And the big one that everybody was latching onto, the big bomb that Gamers Nexus dropped, was specifically about this product right here, an $800 solid copper cooler.
On June 24th, LTT published a video about a copper water block made by a small company called Billet Labs, founded just last year. LTT took one of the company's first prototypes to test, valued in the thousands of dollars for manufacturing, not counting opportunity value. In the video, the LTT team stuck this special 3090 Ti water block on an RTX 4090.
If this wasn't a 3090 Ti, then we don't have another 3090 Ti that we can take apart.
So basically, to dumb it down for people who don't understand, because I don't, I bought a pre-built Alienware because I don't know how to build a damn PC. These guys were given a prototype. There's not many of these things, of a solid piece of copper that is supposed to be a cooler for your graphics card and your CPU. I don't know what the
Beides.
term for this. For GPU and CPU. This is both. Cool. But it specifically works with the 3090. That's what they tested it with, the 3090 Ti. And just to ensure that they tested it correctly, Billet Labs not only sent their prototype to Linus Media Group, they also sent a 3090 to
Echt?
them. So that, like, hey,
Die haben auch eine,
thing we sent it
das wusste ich gar nicht, dass sie auch eine 3090 mitgesendet haben.
Somewhere in the process of Linus Media Group, they misplaced it. They didn't even know they had it. And they were like, oh, there's a 4090 on the shelf. Let's just use that. And they tried to use it. And guess what? It didn't work as well as the 3090. In the end of the review, it was like, hey, this is a cool idea. It was pretty well built, but yeah, you shouldn't use it. It doesn't work as well. Like, look at the performance. But you couldn't really take that seriously because it wasn't meant to be reviewed with the 4090 in the first place. Then there were some further concerns because they never sent back the prototype.
Oh,
and it was a prototype that they didn't have many of.
Arschig.
They wanted it back. Instead, there was some miscommunication, and Linus Media Group auctioned it off to charity without even asking Billet Labs. And by the time it had already been sold, they're like, oh, we can get it back for you. And Billet Labs was like, just send us the money, bro. Just send us the money. And it took them a long time, too, to even find the 3090 to send that back. So a whole host of errors. And at this point, it's worth noting that I don't think any of these errors were done out of malice. I don't think they have it out for Billet Labs and they want this small company to fail. I think it's done out of ineptitude.
Ja, einfach Fehler, wie die ganze Firma funktioniert. Zu viele Leute, kein Überblick. Es ist alles sehr schnell, was auch gesagt wurde, dass unglaublich viel Druck bei der Belegschaft drin ist und dann verlegt sich bei 300 Leuten mal schnell was. Ist verständlich, aber das ist halt, Linus Media Group sollte eigentlich anders sein.
Failures of communications, bad chain of commands, and a rush to get out videos quickly. There was a point where Linus talked about it on the WAN show, his huge podcast, where he didn't want to retest it with a 3090 because it wasn't worth the man hours. They need to get the video out. To refilm the whole entire thing, it would cost a whole lot of money. And we could just get the video out because the conclusion will probably be the same anyway, which maybe is true. He could be right. But it's your job as the reviewer
ist dein Tech-Channel, du kannst jetzt nicht einfach Sachen fallen lassen.
To do the due diligence to come to that conclusion. And if you did it the wrong
So
way, you got to
schade.
go back and do it the right way. And this isn't a feeling that I am coming up with on my own, as Gamer Nexus points out, and Linus Tech Tips' own video points out in the What It's Like to Work for Linus. A lot of people say they work a little too much.
Publish less videos.
I wish we could back off the amount and focus on quality for a bit.
More time for projects would be good.
Just allow us more time to work on a video.
We never have time for retrospection. It's always just, that's out. What's the next thing?
Would be nice if the pace was lessened a little bit.
This is a lot of people complaining about the same issue,
Die das öffentlich im Video sagen. Selber.
which is that these sort of arbitrary deadlines for a certain amount of videos to be posted is too much to be able to do everything accurately and well and reflect on it and feel good about maybe the work that you're uploading. Now, what happened in response to this huge video from Gamers Nexus that garnered over 5 million views? Well, Linus from Linus Tech Tips responded a bit irrationally, a bit prematurely, if you will, a bit emotionally, and dropped a blog post onto Floatplane and basically said, like, hey, we see it. I wish they would have chatted with us first. I'm not really going to talk about this anymore. I've solved all the problems they talked about in the video. All right, see you later. And people were like, this isn't enough. And that's not just the viewer saying that. That is also Linus saying it.
Once again, I made things worse by allowing myself to respond emotionally.
And this was part of a much larger apology video on the main channel. So we went from saying, hey, we're not going to talk about it on the podcast, to uploading a dedicated video that features every lead at the company, Linus Media Group, including the CEO, the majority owners, the head of writing.
Der CEO übernimmt und hat dann die schlimmste Krise von LMG gleich.
Basically everybody on the staff
Tut mir
saying
so
what
leid.
they're hoping to do and change going forward. And this video was received with mixed feelings. You can see by the like to dislike, we're damn near 50-50 on it. Because although it did address a lot of points, it was jokey in tone and monetized, and people thought it was just a bit uncouth. So they tried to listen to feedback, turn off monetization. But the big thing, the big takeaway, is that they were taking a break. For the first time in years, they weren't going to upload anything for over a week. I think it ended up being just around 9 days. And during that time, there was another bomb that was dropped. And this one might be the most serious. And it was by a former employee, Madison, who talked about her tenure at Linus Tech Tips and said that she quit because the working environment was horrible. And there's a
Schade, die war
huge
echt
post
cool.
here,
Also
from
fand ich
Madison, a huge
sympathisch.
thread that is worth reading the entirety of. And it goes into a lot of workplace harassment and difficult working environments. Now, I'm not going to talk about it too much because right now Linus Tech Tips is doing a third-party investigation. And I don't think this to be a third-party investigation to hide it and throw it away. I think they'll actually take action on it. And I'm sure I will follow up when this third-party investigation is posted. But
Müssen sie, wenn sie das nicht komplett aufarbeiten und nicht zeigen, dass sie was ändern können, dann sind die, glaube ich, gebumst, glaube ich. Dann geht's bloß noch bergab.
I don't want to cause too much speculation. I would just recommend, if you got some free time, read through it. Take a look. Take a look at all these videos. It's worth your time. It's interesting stuff, and it's real accounts of people who worked at real jobs and had tough times. But anyway, after the break, that week-long break from that initial apology video that Linus Tech Tips posted, they uploaded a return video. Hello, we are back after I think 9 or 10 days. And this video was much better received and talks about how they are making a lot of changes at the company and how they've had many meetings and they're changing their procedures. And they're also, very good news,
LMG contributes 1% of employees' eligible earnings regardless of personal contribution in addition, LMG will personally match contributions up to, yeah. No deductible.
uploading a lot less. And in this, he also goes over kind of the behind the scenes of how the business works. Linus Media Group is a huge company. There are, I believe, like over 100 employees at this company, and it seems to be a generally good place to work. Like, it's an exciting job. People are happy to work for a YouTuber. I know this firsthand. It is a cool thing, and they offer good benefits. But this situation has further enforced a feeling that I've been thinking about for a while, and something that I think Linus himself also echoed in this video. Linus Media Group is not your friend. Now, this is a year-old video, but I think it rings true even more after everything that's happened, because in it, he talks about what a company's supposed to do.
Isn't LTT a company? No. Linus Media Group Incorporated is a company, and as a company, it has actually, in some cases, different objectives and a different agenda than I personally do or than Luke personally does.
It's true.
Like LMG Incorporated's only job is to make enough money that it can pay all of its staff, including me, and so that it can reinvest in its own business so it can continue to grow. That is like the capitalist definition of a company. It's a corporate entity. It's its own legal entity. It's actually...
By the way, I found this new feature on YouTube. If you hold left click, it plays at 2x speed. That's crazy. Anyway, that's a really good point. He's totally right.
Nee.
And in it, he also talks about how companies aren't your friend, including Linus Media Group. That is a company. And what is my takeaway from this whole situation? Well, look, I think the people who work at Linus Media Group, a lot of the people who work there, are good people. They're trying to do good in the world. They create things that people like, and I don't think that they're going to take this and become worse. I think they're going to take this and become better. And in a world filled with corrupt companies that we are forced to use, I don't think this is one of the bad ones. I think these are one of the people who have an ability to turn it around. I say that with one caveat, because we have not seen the third-party investigation. And I hope there is some serious change that happens in response to all of Madison's issues that she had working there, because they're serious. So I hope whatever the managers were, they were all unnamed, are promptly let go, and that the new staff moving forward is able to work with new procedures, upload less, have a better working environment. But back to Linus's point on how companies aren't your friend, and their main goals are to pay off all the employees and get them, their money, and then grow as fast as possible. Those are things that I've been thinking about a lot. I don't like that relationship. It can be really bad for the people who work there. It can also be really bad at a creator company. This chart haunts my dreams. Colin and Samir, I have to give a big fuck you to both of you for showing me this, because it rapidly changed the course of my life over the past year. In a typical media company, remove the CEO and it can still function with its base intact. At a creator company, remove the creator and the whole thing falls. That's pressure and a reminder to keep your overhead low. Now, I saw this after hiring 15 full-time employees at Mogul Moves, the company that is purely created to service me, Ludwig, and all of my stuff. If I leave, Mogul Moves isn't sticking around. All right? Look, as much as Aiden would love come up here, and he would actually hate it, but as much as I would love to see Aiden come up here and do a Mogul Mail and then see Nick Yingling do my live streams, it'd be funny for a bit, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't effectively work, and it wouldn't uphold the salaries of the 15 people who work there, and they would all lose their jobs. And that's something that weighs on me. It's something I think about often. And what am I doing to fix that? That is why I spend so much time doing this. I've streamed a lot less because of this. I have uploaded less Mogul Moves because I'm not so content-brained anymore. I'm business-brained to try to make off-brand big enough that it is the company that can sustain all the jobs of the people who work at Mogul Moves, so that long-term, if in 5 years I want to step down, or if I start sunsetting immediately and all the viewers leave, or if I have a terrible, terrible PR day and everybody stops watching and unsubscribes, they still have a job, because off-brand can service any creator. But the only final piece of this puzzle that I've been really stressed about is how you form a company. I don't necessarily like the idea that the priority for a company is to make money, reinvest the money, or take out the surplus for the people who own the company and then grow as big as possible at the risk of the people who work there. I think the people who work there should have a little more power and a little more say. I've been thinking a lot about that. I have nothing to do or say about it at the moment, but it is something that weighs on my mind.
Geht aber ziemlich smart dran, die ganze Sache. Es freut mich, dass er für seine Mitarbeiter so schlau agiert. Und für sich selber auch natürlich.
We're talking about is the things that Off-Brand do, which specifically is our next event, which is happening this weekend. It is World's Greatest, sponsored by YouTube Gaming. We're trying to find the GOAT gamer. If you haven't heard about this, it is one of the events that I'm the most excited for ever. Mostly because the people who are showing up for this event, I had a simple idea. Let's find the greatest gamer in the world. And the people who actually are showing up are like tens. Valorant Prodigy, Mango, the GOAT of Smash, Jarex, the second highest earning esports player of all time, with $6.5 million. And you can see the rest of the names here, like Asu, Super, Jane Animations will be there, Nemo, the women's grandmaster, and we have an insane roster of talent for commentary, like Sajam, Slime, Yipes, Coney, and myself. And this is all happening September 2nd and 3rd this weekend at noon each day. I'll be live on my channel, on my main channel. A lot of these people will be live on their channel. So anyway, check it out. Trying to help off-brand, trying to help their events that are also my events sometimes, and thinking about how to make sure that workers have a little more power than they do right now, which is basically what me and the board wants to do. That doesn't